All right, let's get into some props, courtesy of DraftKings Sportsbook, Week 11. I don't see an 8-chan prop, but we've got others. Your favorite receiving over-under bet this week. Here's the graphic. You've got Tyreek Hill at over-under 91.5 yards. Devontae Adams in that same game, 66.5. Jalen Waddle, 63.5. Jacoby Myers, 37.5. Michael Mayer at 20.5. Josh Jacobs all the way down at 17.5. Obviously, those all come from the same game. Raiders at the Dolphins at Hard Rock Stadium on Sunday. Who's your favorite out of that one?
I honestly want to go with Tyreek Hill. I do. I look at that Raiders defense, and it's well coached and all that, but I don't think they got the horses on the back end to mess with this group right here. I'm certainly not going with one of the Raiders. I'm not sold on this whole thing quite yet. You know, they had a very favorable matchup last week with a team that, you know, like we talk about, I don't know if they could score if you took the defense off the field in the New York Jets as it stands right now. Right, so I'm not going there. And then going to Miami and Miami off the bye week and all that. So, like, I'm going to go with Hill. But, yeah, my second choice will be Waddle after that.
Well, absolutely Hill, because he's going to be ready to atone for a disappointing day against the Chiefs in Germany. He's had 2 weeks to heal up any bumps or bruises he had. Remember, he had that hip injury, and Tua had made that comment at a press conference that made us think, is he going to miss some time with that hip injury? So healthy, motivated, and I'm looking at the Raiders injury report, and there's a lot of guys next to the letters CB on the report. Amik Robertson did not practice with a concussion.
That's
Nate
big.
Hobbs, ankle, limited. Marcus Peters, knee, limited. 3 corners on the injury report yesterday.
Yikes.
Makes it even harder. Not that, you know what, most teams, if your corners are 100%, it ain't going to matter when you're trying to defend Tyreek Hill, especially when he's got an extra degree of incentive to have a big day, stay on pace for 2,000 yards, push his pace even a little higher than it was after a disappointing day against the Chiefs. I'm with you. Tyreek Hill's a no-brainer. I'm surprised it's not higher than 91.5. All right, let's go to Monday Night Football. The Eagles and the Chiefs, 8-1 Philly, 7-2 Kansas City. What's the better bet? Jalen Hurts, over 277.5 combined pass and rush yards, or Patrick Mahomes, over 314.5 combined pass and rush yards?
I'm definitely going with Jalen Hurts on this one. I am. You know, I don't envision the Kansas City Chiefs offense being able to light up the scoreboard or yards against the Philadelphia Eagles, right? I think it'll be more about handful of plays that Mahomes makes, like the Super Bowl. Just a few big passes here and there, control the football, do that. I don't look at the Chiefs as being good enough or executing at a high enough level to put up those type of numbers against the Eagles defense. The other side of that is, I mean, we know the Eagles put you in tough problems. The Chiefs want to play man-to-man, right? You know, but what's different here is, you know, the Chiefs got to also worry about, hey, Jalen Hurts will be a little bit healthier running the football. The Chiefs got to worry about that overpowering, huge offensive line by the Eagles. It's going to lead to, hey, maybe more aggressive man-to-man than they would like on the outside with Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. So I would definitely go with Jalen Hurts on this one.
Yeah, you know what? I'm tempted because of that rest factor. Now, both teams had the bye last week.
Yeah.
But we know how the Chiefs are when they have that extra time. And Patrick Mahomes, the comments he made to Peter King after the win over the Dolphins, the defense is the best in the league, and I promise you the offense is going to come around at some point. I just feel like, you know, Super Bowl rematch, prime time, big deal. I got a little more faith in Mahomes, and I still don't know where that Jalen Hurts knee is. We know it's been an issue all year. Fortunately, he's had a couple of weeks to heal it up and not have any further aggravation of it, but it's been an issue. He hasn't had that burst. Until that burst comes back, I'm not ready to say this guy's in a position to put up those kind of numbers. I'll go with Mahomes just because I feel like with the extra time, if they're ever going to blow, and this is the time to do it, against a great opponent, with extra time, with everyone watching, this is the time for the Chiefs to reestablish themselves, and I'm willing to say that I think that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I'm be interested.
I don't want to tip my hand
on
my pick
right.
for Monday night, but I think the Chiefs are going to, if they're ever going to wake up offensively, it's going to be on Monday night. All right, Sunday night. A game that when it wasn't flexed, a lot of people were, Now it's like, Vikings 6-4, Broncos 4-5, Over-under for Josh Dobbs, who was on the injury report yesterday but fully participated in a non-practice with an ankle issue. Over-under 1.5 pass touchdowns. The over is plus 130. The under is minus 160. He had one last week and one on the ground. Does he go over 1.5 or stay under it this week, Chris?
I'm gonna stay under. It's dicey. I mean, O'Connell, as creative as he is, he was close to having 2 touchdown passes. Had one marked out, at like the half-yard line, right? But I think with the way Denver's defense is playing in Denver, all that, I'm not going to throw out 2 touchdown passes yet. I think just in the base level, if it's still new, it's still beginning, and I think if we get down there, they're going to rely on being conservative, him running the football a little bit, and trying to go that way. I could certainly see him having 1 touchdown pass, 1 rushing TD again, or even 1 touchdown pass, 2 rushing TDs. That wouldn't be crazy. But I'll go with the under on this one as far as touchdown passes at 1.5.
This is going to be a real test for Kevin O'Connell, the coach of the Vikings, because he likes to throw to set up the throw.
Yeah.
And we don't see a whole lot of running. The way to have any luck against the Broncos is to run the ball. You can run the ball against them if you have people who can run the ball and hold on to it.
Definitely.
Alexander Mattison has a concussion. Cam Akers is long gone with a torn Achilles. Ty Chandler gave us some flashes finally last week. They've had a lot of hope for Ty Chandler. Finally, he was doing something. He may be the key to this game for the Vikings, because if they can't run, they may have a hard time passing, and it's the night that the bubble gets popped on Josh Dobbs, pending, Bears, Raiders, some winnable games. But going into Denver in prime time against a team that's won 3 in a row and has just beaten the Chiefs and the Bills.
Yeah, they're believing.
And a defense that has gotten a hell of a lot better since giving up 70 points. Yeah, it's not going to be easy. I'll go under on the passing touchdowns as well. Last one, Buccaneers facing the 49ers. 49ers with the big win over the Jaguars on Sunday. Nick Bosa's over-under for sacks is 0.75. 0.75. That's a weird number, but he's either going to have a half and be under or none, or he's going to have 1 or more and be over. Are you over or under?
I'm going over here. I am. Just the way the 49ers looked last week, I know you don't listen to my podcast, but on Wednesday, that's what I broke down. The 49ers, the difference in that football game against Jacksonville is they played with their defensive fronts a lot, right? They're a team that we know is super talented. They had been a little too basic. They gave their guys just a little advantage, like we talk about. Hey, this guy, is he going to blitz? I don't know. There's 2 linebackers lined up in the A gap. It's, 3 defensive linemen over here, and then it's a linebacker and another defensive lineman. They gave their guys some schematical advantages, and I think that's going to be what we're going to see different here about the Steve Wilks defense. Of course, you got 2 talented guys on the edge. We know that. And I think Bosa is hitting his stride, but it's I think also going to be a game where if you made me talk about it, the 49ers will be in the lead, and they'll be like this right here, Mike. See this alignment? Look at that. That's what I'm talking about. There was more of that right there. It looked like they're going to blitz. They drop back. They play cover 2, Tampa 2 there, and cause chaos, and Bosa knocks down the ball. There was a lot more of that, and I think he'll get more than 1 sack in this game, or at least 1.
Part of the self-scouting during the bye week.
Yes, right.
They had been not disguising what they were going to do. They just come out and show you what they're going to do, and they do it.
Agreed.
They're starting to get a little more exotic. They're starting to not just rely upon the skill of their best players.
Exactly.
They realized they had to do some things like they used to do under DeMeco Ryans, and before that, Robert Saleh. That's the difference. Last year, these 2 teams played. Bosa got no sacks, but it was Tom Brady who had perfected the art of getting rid of the football before anybody could get to him. You've got that extra little juice with Bosa and Baker Mayfield dating back to when Mayfield planted the flag in the O.
I
don't know how much of that resonates all these years later, but I think Bosa would relish a chance to put Baker Mayfield on his butt, and I think it's going to be a little bit harder for Mayfield to elude Bosa now that they're being a little more creative.
Good matchup to watch.
By the way,
sorry, go ahead.
I got to say one thing.
Yeah.
I got to say one thing. You've mentioned 3 times now in the last 2 days that I don't watch your podcast. Maybe I should. And here's why. I got an email recently from someone, and they all want to give me advice on what I should do with the co-hosts, who I should hire, who I should fire. And you're rarely one that anyone says I should fire. However, I recently got an email from somebody who said I should replace you because you save all your good stuff for your own podcast. And if you're sandbagging me, Christopher, we're going to have a problem. So this guy may be onto something. So now I'm going to have to start listening to your podcast to make sure you're saving some of the, sharing some of the nuggets here.
I don't think I'm smart enough to hold back my brain and think about, like, come on, you're giving me too much credit here, okay? It's just, I get a little more on time to unpack some things there probably, right, on my podcast where we hit a lot of news around the football. That, this is purely
You have been accused of deliberately saving your best stuff for your own show. You are under that accusation. The indictment has been lodged. Well, the trial is coming.
Hey, counselor, you listen to the podcast first, and then you tell me your assessment from there, and then we'll go from there, okay? But one of those matchups from that game we were just talking about that I'm excited about, Tristan Wirfs versus Nick Bosa or Chase Young, that's going to be worth the price of admission. Tristan Wirfs he's in the discussion for best tackle in football. He's that damn good, and that's probably why this thing is at 0.75, just because of that factor alone.
We have our matchup draft coming up in not that long, so you can make that one of your matchups.
Good. Don't steal
our picks. For now, don't forget, on DraftKings Sportsbook this season, new customers can bet $5 and pocket $150 in bonus bets instantly, plus all customers can get a no-sweat same-game parlay every day. Download the app and use the promo code PFTLive when you sign up. DraftKings Sportsbook, the crown is yours. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.